NBA players earn millions of dollars, and there is usually an army of people that handle their health, nutrition, schedule, and even wardrobe. However, around each trade deadline, NBA players get nervous and uneasy because they know their lives can be turned upside down. In this video, we'll talk about the ugly side of the NBA business, lies from general managers, constant life on the move, and not seeing your families for months. Here's how the process of being traded looks from an NBA player's perspective, and how stressful it is. Basketball is a game, but the NBA is a business, where everybody always looks after themselves first. There are plenty of examples of that. Players who are in the final year of their contracts might not play team basketball anymore, and can only be interested in pumping their numbers so they'd get a better deal in the offseason. An owner might not want to pay the luxury tax, and he can instruct his GM to trade good players to decrease the salary cap, even though he initially promised to spend a lot. And then the GM, whose job can also be on the line, might tell a player that he's not getting traded for sure, and then trade that player when the next offer reaches his table. From a general manager's perspective, it's tough to tell the truth to players. If you tell somebody that you are looking to trade them, it might affect their performance on the court, and if the trade doesn't happen, you have just built up unnecessary tension, and the player might not sign another deal with the team in the future. So a lot of GMs blatantly lie to their players. Yeah, we love you, you've been great for us, you're certainly not getting traded, and the next thing you know, they're out of there. It happens all the time. The general rule of thumb is that if the management thinks they can get more value in return, you will probably get traded. As a player, trusting what you hear can soon work against you and lead to big disappointments. Finding out on the internet. During trade deadlines, trades and rumors float around so fast that it's difficult to keep track of it all. Plus, most of it is just false information, and it's hard to know what to trust after a while. And more often than not, players find out about the trade through social media and are usually informed about their next team by Adrian Wojnarowski, rather than their agent or somebody from the franchise. Anthony Davis found out that he was traded to the Lakers on Instagram. DeMarcus Cousins got told he was traded in the middle of the All-Star interview, and we got to see his live reaction to the news. Some players, like Harrison Barnes, get the information in the middle of the game. Some people get the call in the middle of the night, or before they were supposed to board the team plane. Luke Ridenour got traded 4 times during 1 week in the 2015 offseason. It's an entirely unpredictable predicament, and that's what keeps NBA players restless and edgy during the trade season. Always on the move. Travel is one of the hardest parts of the job as an NBA player. From the airport to the hotel to the arena, and then back to the airport. It's a demanding schedule as it is, but when you get the information you're being traded, that's when the real problems start. Although everything is paid for and scheduled, the moment you receive the news of the trade, you better start packing, because more often than not, you have to report to the team that's traded for you the very next day. Once the player checks in and has passed his physical, he has to find a new home. Usually, it means living out of a hotel for more than a month and spending all of his free time away from basketball and finding and decorating a new home. For example, instead of chilling in the house in Miami after practice, all of a sudden, he has to spend the next month with real estate agents in Toronto, picking up furniture, changing documents, etc. Their clothes might take time to get to the new spot, as well as their cars. You might say, well, these people have lots of money, and they can hire people to help them move or just buy new clothes. Well, that's true. NBA players are just like anybody else who has to switch homes. Money definitely helps, but moving takes time and energy. It causes stress, and it's not the most pleasant thing in the world. Broken relationships. A trade generally feels like a breakup. As a player, you found out that a team who thought kindly about you before suddenly doesn't want you anymore. And as in any breakup, you don't just break up with that person, you break up with their community as well. In the NBA context, it means saying goodbye to your teammates and the entire staff around the team in the arena, or anybody else that you befriended during your time in that city. It can mean losing some of your closest friends. Something we recently saw with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry when DeRozan got traded from the Raptors. It can also mean losing a romantic relationship if the person you're dating can't or won't move to a new city when you switch teams. Kendall Jenner for sure didn't want to live in Detroit, I can tell you that much. Moving into an unfamiliar environment and into a new city is pretty much the same as changing schools or a job in any walk of life. You have to meet new classmates or colleagues all over again, find new routes to work, places to eat, and it usually takes a while for life to get comfortable again. Family trouble. The most challenging part of getting traded is moving the family to a new city. If a player has kids, they often stay in the city of their former team until they finish a semester in school. That means a player might not see his kids in months. It's the same thing with parents, and pretty much everybody who the player cares about is affected by the trade. They are either going to stay in the same city and see their dad, husband, or son way less than they previously did, or they're going to move with him and lose many of their own relationships they've built over the years. Some players get traded almost every year, and constant moving can take a toll on the player and their loved ones. Trevor Ariza has been traded 10 times during his career, which is an NBA record. I bet he's already used to the whole process, but it's definitely still annoying when it happens. Pressure. While the players are busy with moving into a new house and getting their family to a new city, they still have to perform on a high level. The NBA is an ultra-competitive league, and nobody cares that you didn't see your kids or slept in your own bed for weeks. You have to remain productive through all the stress, and your game can't drop off on a new team, which is something easier said than done. The job of an NBA player has a lot of perks, and it's generally a job where a lot of your life is pre-scheduled and organized. However, it's also a job that involves living in constant limbo, not knowing where you'll be waking up the following day, and not in a fun way. But like the NBA veterans will tell you, you get used to it. And although it's not really comfortable, and there can be tension and mental fatigue, you become numb to all the nonsense that comes with trades. And at the end of the day, it's worth it. When the salary is as good as it is in the NBA, almost anybody would accept having to move unexpectedly every once in a while.